Let me tell you something, man. A lot of respect, man, for the Dallas Mavericks, man. They fought their way to another victory, which allows them to move to the Western Conference Finals. Let's kind of break the game down. First and foremost, man, Kyrie is special, man. Let me give you my reasoning for saying that Kyrie Irving is special. Kyrie Irving has the uncanny ability to be selfless. Selfless is how he's playing. We all know Kyrie Irving can score 25 to 30 points per game easily. We know that he can take over games. But the thing is, he's playing with Luka Doncic. And playing with Luka, he decided to defer to Luka a lot more than usual. And it can be hard playing with a guy with Luke that's Luka caliber. Let me tell you why. Because Luka has to have the ball at least 80% of the time. That's a fact. And I might be even cutting it a little bit of short, cutting a little short. Luka has to have the ball at least 80 to 90% of the time. And the other 10 to 20%, he finds the ball in his hand anyway, and he has to make shots. But Luka is always controlling the offense. And that kind of frustrates me a little bit because I believe Luka is a dog. Luka can score the basketball. But at what expense? A lot of things that Luka does, you have to tip your hat off to Kyrie Irving, because Kyrie Irving, in the midst of all that, because he has to deal with Luka dribbling the ball out, dribbling the air out the ball. He has to deal with Luka always controlling the offense. He has to deal with Luka always complaining as well. Let me tell y'all something about Luka. Luka is always complaining every chance he gets. And when you're dealing with all those components, just imagine the mental aspect that Kyrie has to be, always stay in the moment. This guy is nothing short of amazing. What he has been able to do to be able to help the Dallas Mavericks to reach the Western Conference Finals is amazing. And I'm excited for him. Now, he had over 20 points last night, which is a great deal for the Dallas Mavericks, because Luka now has a bona fide superstar player that plays alongside with him. Now, let's kind of go over the stats. Derrick Jones, he ended up with 22 points. That was a big pickup for them. They needed that last night. PJ Washington had 9 points. He had hit 2 crucial free throws that late in the ball game that gave them the victory, which was crucial because Shai Alexander had fouled PJ Washington, which I believe it was a bad foul. Bad foul, Shay. You really bailed the Dallas Mavericks out, because you have to live with PJ Washington with that shot. Just put a hand up in his face. Don't foul him. If he hit the shots, then yeah, it's great defense. If he miss it, you're giving your team an opportunity to win this game last night. Daniel Gafford, 10 points. Kyrie Irving ended up with 22 points. He was terrible from the field. He was 9 from 23, 39.1%, but he ended up catching on fire late in that ball game. But he was 4 for 10 from 3-point range, 40%. That's great, man. 40%. They needed those. Every point of those 3-pointers. Luka ended up with 29 points. He was 9 for 15 from the field, 60%, 4 for 6 from the 3-point line, 66.7%. Luka is amazing. Josh Green, 6 points. Then you had Derek Lively. He had 12 points. You had Jaden Hardy, 5 points. And then you had Tim Hardaway Jr. with 2 points. Now, let's kind of go into OKC. You had Shai Alexander. He had 36 points, man. 14 from 25 from the field, 56%. He was 80% from 3-point range, 4 for 5. Shai Alexander should have been the MVP this year. I'm telling you, Shai Alexander should have been the MVP. This guy give you 30 points a night. You had Dort, had 11 points. You had Jalen Williams, had 22 points. You had Chet Holmgren, had 21 points. Isaiah Joe had 11 points. And you had Jalen Williams had 6 points, and you had Casey Wallace had 5 points. Josh Giddey had 2 points. Josh Giddey didn't show up, man, for whatever reason, man. Possibly the playing time, inconsistent playing time you get, but he just didn't really sit and fit in within the series. But let me tell you this, man. OKC is a great team. I believe, and just my point is that I believe once was great experience for OKC. I believe there'll definitely be a threat come next season. Um, I know if you get another superstar player on this team, I don't know if it's worth it in giving up some of the players that you have, because I believe every player on the OKC team right now plays an intricate role in the development of this team. I believe you just have to go through these growing pains. You have to go through these losses, and then hopefully you're able to gain some valuable experience, which is going to be able to take come next season. So I believe OKC is going to be just fine. But back to Kyrie Irving, man. Kyrie Irving came in with the Dallas Mavericks at the right time. Kyrie Irving is the key to the Dallas Mavericks in making it to the NBA Finals. I believe they have a great opportunity, but the next round is going to be no joke. One thing I would say about the Dallas Mavericks is they make a lot of turnovers. A lot of turnovers. Kyrie Irving had 4 turnovers. Luka had 7 turnovers last night. 7 turnovers, despite he had a triple-double. He had 10 rebounds. Then he had 10 assists. He had a triple-double, but those 7 turnovers. And the reason why I'm expounding upon those turnovers, because if you keep allowing yourself to make these turnovers, and you do it with either the Minnesota Timberwolves or the Denver Nuggets, they're going to capitalize on those turnovers. That's going to be a long night for you. So you have to minimize those turnovers as much as possible. But other than that, man, Kyrie Irving is the truth between him and Luka, and how they're able to run the offense and hit big shots, and how their role players are starting to come into their own. I like that for the Dallas Mavericks. I believe that they are a team to be reckoned with, but the next round, the next 7-game series, is going to be a tough matchup for them, because if we break this down, Minnesota has length. Minnesota has offensive firepower. Minnesota can play defense. And I believe Dallas Mavericks is going to be going into this game a little bit undermanned, and a little bit far as athleticism, they're going to be underneath either one of those teams. Now, Denver Nuggets, they are a very physical basketball team. You already know you have Nikola Jokic. You already know you have Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr., and you have some offensive firepower. But, when you talk about their bench is really not that good compared to the Minnesota Timberwolves. They have players that can come off the bench and give you 10 to 20 points very easily. So with that being said, either one of those teams is definitely going to be a contender to beat the actual Dallas Mavericks. But I'm looking forward to this 7-game series, and let's see what's happened next. Don't forget to like on this actual podcast episode, and stay tuned to the next episode, and subscribe to my TikTok. You go over to Royal Figures, or my YouTube channel, Royal Figures, and stay tuned to the next video.